time has a peculiar way of revealing what we once thought was hidden forever. Sometimes, it is not the ticking of the clocks that marks the passage of years, but the secrets that surface, the memories that resurface, and the truths that finally demand to be faced. In the heart of every family lie stories, some cherished, others painful. And often, it is a single object, an heirloom passed from one hand to another, that becomes the vessel for all these stories. In this tale, it was a father's watch, a gleaming, weighty Rolex that had quietly witnessed decades of love, loss, and ambition. For as long as she could remember, Emma had associated her father with the gentle glint of that watch beneath his shirt cuff. It was more than a timepiece. It was a symbol of his perseverance. Her father had built his contracting business from the ground up, each tick of the second hand a testament to late nights, hard-won deals, and the sacrifices he made for his family. When he passed, the watch was one of the few things Emma truly longed to keep, a tangible reminder of his steady presence in a world that suddenly felt uncertain. But as the years slipped by, the watch disappeared. At first, Emma assumed it was simply misplaced in the chaos and grief that followed her father's passing. Life, with its relentless demands, pulled her in different directions. Her mother remarried, and the rhythms of family life shifted. New faces, new priorities, and quietly, the old memories faded to the background. It wasn't until Emma stumbled upon a faded photograph, her father's arm draped around her younger self, the Rolex glinting in the afternoon sun, that the ache of its absence returned. The truth began to unravel with a single, unexpected phone call. Emma's stepbrother, eager and nervous, confessed that the Rolex had been sold years ago. He explained that her mother and stepfather had used the proceeds to help him launch his own startup, a dream that required every available resource. The admission stung, not just because of the watch, but because of the secrecy. To Emma, it felt like losing her father all over again, but the story did not end there. Several weeks later, an antique dealer reached out to Emma after discovering her name inscribed in an old journal that had been tucked away in the watch's case. The dealer explained that during a routine cleaning, he had found a hidden compartment inside the Rolex's box. Inside, carefully folded, was an envelope marked for Emma. The envelope contained bearer bonds worth nearly $100,000, an inheritance her father had left for her, sealed with a note of love and hope for her future. Alongside the bonds was a journal detailing her father's business dealings, including a $15,000 invoice from Richardson Construction that had never been paid. The magnitude of this revelation was overwhelming. Emma found herself holding not just a financial windfall, but a piece of her father's legacy, a legacy that had been hidden in plain sight, overlooked in the rush to move forward. And with it came the recognition of all the things left unsaid, all the wounds that time had not yet healed. The confrontation that followed was inevitable. Emma approached her mother and stepfather with the journal and the envelope, her hands trembling but her voice steady. She asked for the truth, for an explanation, not just about the watch, but about the choices that had shaped their family's story. The conversation was raw and emotional, peeling back years of resentment and misunderstanding. Her mother wept, admitting that she had acted out of desperation, believing that helping her stepson chase his dreams was a way to honor her late husband's spirit of generosity. The stepfather, ashamed, apologized for never telling Emma the whole story. The fallout was not easy. Trust, once broken, is not easily repaired. For a time, the family drifted apart, each member wrestling with their own version of what had happened. Yet, in the quiet moments, Emma found herself returning to her father's journal. She read his words late into the night, notes about projects, anecdotes about customers, and reflections on the values that had guided his life. In those pages, she rediscovered not just the story of her family, but the lessons her father had tried to impart: honesty, perseverance, and the courage to face the truth, even when it hurts. The story of the stolen watch became more than a tale of loss. It became a catalyst for healing. Emma used a portion of the inheritance to settle her father's unpaid business debts, honoring his commitment to integrity. She invested the rest in her own future, just as her father had hoped, And over time, she reached out to her mother and stepfather, seeking not just explanations, but reconciliation. Family, Emma realized, is not defined by the absence of conflict, but by the willingness to confront the hard truths together. The watch, once a symbol of betrayal, became a reminder of how easily misunderstandings can fracture even the closest bonds. But it also became a symbol of forgiveness, of the power of love to mend what was broken. Stories like Emma's resonate because they reflect the universal struggle for trust, belonging, and meaning. Many of us have family heirlooms, rings, watches, faded photographs that carry more than material value. They are repositories for our histories, our hopes, and our regrets. When these objects are lost or mishandled, the wounds can feel deeper than we expect. But as Emma learned, even the most painful revelations can lead to new beginnings. The lessons from this story extend beyond one family's experience. In a world that prizes success and forward momentum, it is easy to overlook the quiet legacies left behind, to sell a watch or move past an old journal without pausing to ask what they truly represent. Yet, these objects often contain the blueprints for our values and identities. They remind us to look closely, to ask questions, and to honor the stories that came before us. Emma's journey was not just about recovering a lost inheritance, it was about reclaiming the narrative of her own life. She learned to ask difficult questions, to hold herself and others accountable, and to extend grace where it was needed most. In doing so, she transformed a story of betrayal into one of growth and renewal. The emotional weight of this story lies in its realism. Families are complicated, shaped by decisions both big and small. Trust is easy to lose and hard to rebuild. Yet, when approached with honesty and vulnerability, even the most painful truths can become pathways to deeper connection. For those navigating their own family challenges, Emma's story offers a powerful reminder. Do not dismiss the significance of the objects and traditions that have shaped your life. Take time to explore their histories, to ask your loved ones about the memories they hold. When secrets come to light, meet them with compassion and curiosity, not just anger or blame. It is in these moments, fraught and fragile, that true healing can begin. The story of the father's stolen watch is not unique. Versions of it play out in families across the world. Sometimes it is a piece of jewelry, sometimes a letter, sometimes a photograph. What matters is the willingness to face what these objects reveal, to honor the past, to accept the present, and to build a future grounded in understanding and forgiveness. As Emma closed her father's journal one final time, she realized that the greatest inheritance he had left her was not the watch, nor the money, but the example of how to live with integrity. It was the legacy of facing the truth, no matter how uncomfortable, and choosing to move forward with courage. In the end, the watch that once marked the hours of Emma's childhood became a symbol of time's ultimate lesson, that healing happens not in forgetting, but in remembering, and in choosing, again and again, to love. Let this story inspire us to look beyond the surface, to cherish the heirlooms in our own lives, and to seek out the truths that will set us free. For in every family, there are stories waiting to be told, lessons waiting to be learned, and, if we are brave enough, new chapters waiting to be written.